Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Thursday, the 26th of May, and these are the charts of the day. Well, it looks to me like the markets are, consolidating, and the weekend's coming up, a long one. So tomorrow could be an interesting day, maybe a dull day, maybe a real wild day. We don't know. More importantly, let's take a look at some of the individual chart patterns of stocks that are really starting to improve. Several of the biotechs are looking better. In particular, if you take a look at ALDR, you'll see that the big drop from the high that it reached in June of last year, about 55 range, came down in a 5-wave decline, big 5th wave down. And then look at this spike up off the lows, followed by a pullback retest, holding around a 50, and not far from lateral price support. That then moved up, and today was in a key day as the stock went from 27.12 to 29.93, closed at 29.26, up 152 or 5.5%. And it traded over 1 million shares, which is the biggest volume all week. So for me, I think it's got some potential to extend here. First, to test the 31.5 area that was reached in January, and maybe we can even get it up to the mid-30s. There's almost 9 days to cover. 8.92. So at this point, I'm looking for an extension, and today's low should be your stop, as that's the low for the last 5 sessions, around under 27, say. ALNY, yet another biotech doing well, very well. You can see that 5-day move from the 53 area all the way up to over 70, 72 high, almost 19 points. But today's action broke out with a gap above the declining tops line and is moving up to test the April high, which comes in around 75. So look for a 4 or 5 point move to test that level. And then we'll see if maybe it can do up to 82. So 75, 82 are your targets. 7.6 days to cover. Keep an eye on this one. Another biotech that's moving is ARRY. For me, it's come out of the base as of today with 1.9 million shares up about 3.5%. There's 12.5 days cover on that. And I think the test is coming. It's going to test this line up around 370.75. That may happen tomorrow. And if it does that, then we can start to see the stock move towards 4.5 or more. 12.5 days to cover on that one. Consumer products company, pet products company, BUFF, Blue Buffalo Pet Products, put a swing back on after I like the way the stock has acted in the last couple months, particularly with the pop above the double top and the pullback to form a wedge. If and when this does go, I'm expecting a test of the all-time high, post-IPO high, about 28.80, my next target. If we get through that, we can see the stock run to 33.34. 14.6 days to cover on this one. Now, the oil stocks are having a difficult time, but one that stood out for me today was CPE. Most oil stocks were actually down on the day, and this one got up to 12 and finished 11.74, up 33 cents, or about 3%, about 4.8 million. It just looks to me like there's resistance here, of course, but if it can consolidate for a little bit longer, my next move is about 13.5, 14. CPRT on earnings had a big day today, exploding for 421 or almost 10%. There's 12.8 days to cover on this one. Looking at the long-term chart, you'll see that this is up against or nearing a juxtaposition of lines at a target near 52. The current action with a breakaway gap and a pop of this nature should lead to additional upside. I'll be watching that. CPXX, although it's down a nickel today, it's consolidating a nice little wedgie in here underneath resistance. And while I'll be watching for it, can it get over 1820? If it does, 22, and maybe even high 20s could be ahead of us. Volume will be key, but OBV is holding up beautifully. Dollar General with a strong earning report today, one of the strong retailers that had a big day today. Maybe due for a run up into that mid-90s. Today gapped, ran, closed up 388 or 4.6%. He's pushing almost 4 days to cover short, so I think this has more to go. But watch for a setup for a consolidation or flag potentially. Another one was Dollar Tree stores, which really exploded for $10, almost 13%, on 11.7 million. With 8.3 days to cover and a breakout above key overhead resistance, this could very well extend because we're at all-time high territory. I'm looking for mid-90s on this one as well. Big day for Flexion. Opened at 12.66, shot up to 17 and change, backed off, and then came on again. We traded that beautifully today. It's right up against resistance here if we don't get a follow through. But if we do, I would look for a test of about the 20.5, 21 zone, short term. 6 days to cover on that one. Fabrinet really coming back strong 5 days in a row. Today up another $1.31, almost 4%. It looks like it's about to retest that spike high at around 36.5, 3/4. Eventually get near 40. GIMO put a swing on this today, as I believe the stock is headed for substantially higher levels. Number one, we need to make a move across 32.25. That may happen very quickly. And if it does, look for 35, 37, and 40 as future targets. A little less than 4 days to cover on that one. Hewlett-Packard with positive news today, and the stock popped 84 cents or 7%. More importantly, it closed right at resistance, although there is a gap right up here. The resistance now is about 13.25. Today's high was 13.15. So in this zone will be resistance, but the target going forward is near 15. Juno, well, call it a gut feel, call it technical analysis. After a pop up and then a 1, 2, 3 wave corrective, holding support in that zone, it's starting to move again, up $1.24 today. I think it's going to make a run to test 44, 45 zone. If we can get through that, we got a stock that could be in the mid-50s. 9.3 days to cover on that. Lionsgate had a nice report today. I'm going to pass on this one for now. NERV though, that was the big kahuna today. Opened at 997, pulled back to 8.25 after running up to 13 or 12 and change. But then came down, backed up, filled, sold off at the end of the day again. Nevertheless, we reached our targets at the $13 range. $13.20 was the actual reach. At this point, it may need to back and fill for a bit, but with a thrust from 3 to 15, phenomenal. 15 pre-market. You can see how this stock has potentially a good road ahead of it. SONS, well, I like the way it's acting. It's edging up slowly, but the gut feel is here. After breaking out of the base and consolidating, the next target has to be this big gap. Comes in around 990. That's my near-term target. My mid-channel target's 11.5. TTNP, well, after hours, it's trading 8.5 from 7 on positive drug news with a opioid replacement. Looking at the long-term chart, you can see massive resistance up around the 13.5, 14 range. With today's gap up, this may be a flyer tomorrow. Here's the after-hours look. Exploded, pulled back, and it's way back up again. So let's see what this does tomorrow, but it feels like a stock that could fly. With almost 6 days to cover, that won't hurt. Vive, a company and a stock that I like. It broke out today above multiple tops and then gapped after hours on a strong earnings report. It's up against resistance, but the long-term chart shows if it can get through here, this could be a stock in the 40s. I firmly believe we may get there with 10 days to cover. Lastly is Wingstop. Some of the restaurant chains are doing better. Wingstop popped out of a base today, jumping $1.03 or almost 4%. Volume wasn't big, but there's 13.7 days to cover. It feels like this triple top here, upwards of 28.5, 3/4, should be tested, if not tomorrow. And then ultimately a move up towards the mid-30s if it gets the volume. I think it might. 13.67 days to cover. That's it tonight, folks. Have a good